Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Modesty, and welcome to the Celebrity Spotlight Live Talk Show, where we take you beyond the lights, the cameras, and the action of celebs, authors, actors, chefs, movie critics, athletes, businessmen and women, and other noteworthy professionals for business promotion, marketing, branding, and exposure. Tonight, I'm excited and delighted to have as my special guest a resident of Washington. She is a blogger, a contributing writer to Sisters Place magazine, and a respected and sought-after author. I give to you tonight our guest, Selena Haskins. How are you this evening, Selena?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well, and we're so glad to have you. And we're going to get right into the interview. You have such an intriguing background in writing, Selena, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's do that right now. What Celebrity Spotlight does is we go beyond the lights, cameras, and action of our guests so that your well-wishers, your supporters, your fans, and even potential customers and clients can get to know you a little bit better beyond the writing and the drama, etc. So now, according to your bio, Selena, you started this journey at the age of 9, which is awesome in itself. Now, what were some of the things you was writing about at that age when other little 9-year-olds were playing with dolls and hair and calling their little girlfriends, etc.? You started writing. What were some of the things you were writing about?
I had a vivid imagination, so I was one of those kids that when your parents gave you those activity books and you had to describe things, I would just be very descriptive and at length with stuff, like I would go beyond the typical, like, roses are red, violets are blue.
Right.
I was just really, creative. I saw things like beyond the obvious. And I think that's how it really all started for me. It's just I really had a connection with everything that was around me, all of my 5 senses. And that's how it started. It just started from the basics and really, observation, really.
Wow. That's amazing because, as I stated before, 9-year-olds, well, nowadays, 9-year-olds, they're texting and they're doing all kinds of things. But the fact that you had a vivid imagination, so I would say take it a little further and say that you're a gifted and a talented child. I'm sure you would say amen to that, right, Selena?
Amen.
Okay, can I get an
you.
amen over there from Selena? Okay, Selena, when an author writes, people are actually reading their minds. And when you put your thoughts into written form, is there a particular or a special go-to place you have to be at when you write, like a park or a beach or hotel, in your kitchen, in your living room, or do you have to go away? Is there a go-to place that gives you inspiration?
No, just besides my mind, because, ideas come to me all the time. And so as far as, like, writing at length, I do prefer, like, we have an office space in my home that I will go to write at length. But as ideas come to me, I'll email them to myself, so I won't forget, what I thought about or what I had, observed for that day.
Exactly. That is awesome. And hopefully those who are going to be listening to this interview later on who want to become writers, they will do the same thing too. I would say that's a writing tip. That's an author tip right there, emailing your thoughts to yourself, because sometimes we do get busy, throughout the day, doing this, doing that, phones are ringing, people calling, people talking, etc. That is an excellent idea to type out rather, and email yourself thoughts when they come them to you so that you won't lose them. Now,
Thank you.
tell us. You're welcome, dear. Tell us about your first novel. It's called A River Moves Forward, and then you did the sequel to that novel called Riding the Waves: The Price of Fame and Fortune. And before you start, I've got to tell you, I love that title because it will always, and I mean always, be relevant, because people are always acquiring fame, they're always acquiring fortune, and they're always riding the waves, even if it's not their own waves. But anyway, I'll let you tell it.
No, I enjoy listening to you. I'm glad
Okay.
that you had the ability to pick all of that up. I'm just listening like, this is very interesting. But, I mean, it just shows you did your homework, right?
I have to, definitely, because you're definitely a girl. And I can tell, by the titles and by the pictures that are on the book, you're definitely a thought-provoking, a very detailed, oriented writer. So tell us about A River Moves Forward, and then you can talk about Riding the Waves, and then we'll get into what you did last year in 2017.
Sure. Well, A River Moves Forward is a story about three sisters who grow up in Chicago's Cabrini Green in the 70s, and they experience a tragedy that affects each one of their lives in a different way. And so this is the first generation of the Morris family. It's a family saga.
Okay.
And then part 2 is Riding the Waves, where it picks up with the second generation with their children. So the sisters, we're not giving it all away, but, obviously they've had some success despite the tragedy that happens that leads to fortune and fame. And with this second generation, they're pretty much born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They never experienced the things that their parents had to go through in order to live the lives that they're currently living. So they face their own challenges, and then it's about them, coming into an appreciation that there is a price for fame and fortune, and that they will have to learn eventually how to appreciate really what they have.
Okay. Wow. That sounds good. That sounds good. And like I forestated, I believe that has happened and is more than likely happening now in someone's family in our society today. We can even see it when we turn on the television and hear about so many children who are privileged, especially when they get into trouble and then they get out so easily, easier than those who are not, as privileged as they are. Now, last year you did I tell you, you are just a writing somebody, Selena. Last year, you published a book called Yesterday Was a Long Time Ago, and I like the cover. I really do like the cover of that. So tell us about that book.
I think Yesterday Was a Long Time Ago is my best work to date. It is a college romance, and it's a story where two people with two different backgrounds. One is Jermaine, who grows up in a sheltered religious household. She goes away to college to pursue her dreams of becoming a writer, and she meets Angelo, who is this handsome athlete and outgoing and spontaneous, and he has all the things that she's looking for in someone, because she's a social misfit, so she's looking to break out of her shell. And unbeknown to her, and as well as their peers, there are some things about Angelo that he never shows because of his popularity, but he reveals those things to Jermaine. So there's a connection, there's a chemistry between them, and they fall in love, and then something happens and their world breaks apart for many years. So that's why it's called Yesterday Was a Long Time Ago. So it's, we'll she eventually find love again, or will she have to move on with her life after all this time? So it's a little bit of a suspense as well.
Mhm. That sounds magnificent. Now, tell us, where can we pick up? Where can people purchase? Yesterday was a long time ago, and also, your other books, I'm sure they're available as well. Where can they purchase your book, dear?
They can visit Amazon as well as Barnes and Noble, or if they would like autographed copies, they can visit my website at booksbyselena.com.
Awesome. And tell us, what are your social media handles and names as well, so that they can follow you, Selena,
sure.
on social media.
It's author Selena Haskins on Facebook and Books by Selena on Instagram and Twitter.
Excellent. And we have one last question for you, Selena. Have you considered, let me go to this one first here. Can you see your novels accelerating to another level, like being on Netflix or Lifetime or the big screen or on television? Any of the books you've written?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely can see like my first novel, A River Moves Forward, probably being a part of the OWN network, seeing as though, Oprah Winfrey tends to like historical fiction.
Yes, she does.
So A River Moves Forward is historical fiction. It'll, start from the 60s and 70s, and then I can see a progression with the series on into the second generation.
Right.
And with Yesterday Was a Long Time Ago, that could very well be a Lifetime movie, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, based upon the content and everything that you was telling me about. And I'm telling you, whoever purchased these books and who love to read, and they are going to enjoy every last one of them. A River Moves Forward, Riding the Waves, The Price of Fame and Fortune, and also Yesterday Was a Long Time Ago. Well, Selena, I just want to say thank you so much for choosing us to do this interview with. I have enjoyed myself, and I appreciate your writing skills and your gifts and your talents, and I do know and believe, I believe and know, and I know and believe that you're definitely going to be successful continuously. People love to read. And although we're in a digital age, there is nothing like that black and white. Okay, there's nothing like a book. I don't care what anyone says. I'm old school. I like to read.
I agree.
Okay, I like to read books. So hold on one second, Selena.
Sure.